All right, guys. It is the best time of the year. Fantasy football's getting started again. We're still so far away, really. We're like almost 2 months away still, but we're getting excited. The league has been reactivated, and as always, we are going to come back with some new proposed amendments. Some of them are the same amendments you've seen proposed before, just proposed again to hope anyone changed their mind, or see if anyone changed their mind. And also welcome Max and Walker to the Guillotine League. We do weekly videos going over what goes on every week. And we'll also have a couple of videos right between now and the beginning of the season, including this one. So let's jump right in. Ryan, we've got Ryan on the call, your fearless co-commissioner, communist.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for that kind intro, Eric. It's good to be back. I would argue the second best time of year behind March Madness, but a great time of year nonetheless.
Okay, fair enough. Some may hold that opinion, but I'm very excited. Let's get into it. Proposed amendments. Starting off with, just to reiterate, an amendment that passed last year, just so we're aware, and anyone who's new. I believe Walker and Max are new to Guillotine in general. They've never done it before. I think they're both aware of how it works. So, the lowest scoring team each week gets chopped. Pretty self-explanatory. You have 100 fab on the season, blind bidding. I'm pretty sure everyone gets what we're doing. But anyway, so we enacted a new amendment last year that was the third and fourth place teams, like the teams that got eliminated third and fourth, their starting rosters did not get dropped to waivers for the remaining teams to bid on. Only their benches.
Aside from the bench, yep.
Yes, benches did go. Benches and IR, but I don't think IR mattered. Because they're injured, or probably not, unless they're getting healthy the next week, it doesn't matter. So the point of that was to make the championship week and really just the end game in general a little bit more strategic. You don't just have the entire pool of players in the entire NFL to work with between the last two teams. Like, it's at least a semi-limited pool that you have to work with, and you have to lock in your guys kind of before you get to the Final Four, because the starters on the other teams are unavailable essentially after that. So yeah, that's what happened. I think that was a good change. We're going to keep that one. I don't think anyone was upset about that. And now
it also only impacted 3 people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Half the league at this point wasn't even paying attention because they're eliminated and don't care anymore. But yeah, I think for those that were here, that was me, Ryan, Fleming, and Huff were the Final Four last year. Me and Ryan got third and fourth, I believe. So.
Yep.
And Ryan, I'll give you a quick shout out. I'm pretty sure you're the only team that's been top 4 both years. Or are you 5th and 4th?
Yeah, thank you. I think, honestly, obviously I haven't won either year, but I think the fact that you basically I basically got to play for the whole season. I think that's what is exciting about it, is I feel like you don't miss out on any of the, the drama. Obviously would love to win, but Guillotine is fun, and being able to participate for the entirety is essentially the entirety.
Yes.
Nice little added fun. So, thank you.
Absolutely, and I think that's actually a good segue into something I wanted to mention, is that the whole point of making amendments to the league every year is I'm trying to make it more fun. Ultimately, that's what I have in mind, and there's still some areas where I want to improve. We love the beginning of the season when there's 18, now 20 of us. Everyone's active, everyone's trading, it's hectic, it's chaos, it's awesome, everyone's scared of getting eliminated, crazy moves happen, and it kind of quickly, that excitement dies down, around mid-season, and I'm trying to find a way to make it more exciting and to keep that excitement going throughout the season. I don't have any amendment in here that I think is going to change that this year, but I'm open to ideas, because I want to keep that excitement going.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're going to touch on this or if it's a good segue, but we did make the executive decision to eliminate the resurrecting team.
Whoa, we're getting there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't know how I should have trusted that you didn't miss
Trust
anything
me, Ryan.
in your slides. All right, keep going.
So technically 2 amendments passed last year, this being one of them and the one that's staying. The third and fourth place starting roster is getting locked. Also, the whole resurrection gulag thing to fill everyone in, if you're new or if you forgot what it was. I guess that is our first non-negotiable. Me and Ryan have agreed these are just commissioner decisions. These are 3 things we're changing this year that are not going to be up for league vote. We're removing the gulag. Essentially, how that worked is the first 6 weeks last year. If you got eliminated, you had a 1 week period where your entire roster is dropped. You lose all your fab. You have to put together a just scrappy team off waivers with 0 fab, and if you outscore anyone in the following week, you're resurrected or brought back. You come back with half the fab that you had originally, and you go from there. Ultimately, 2 teams did resurrect in that first 6 week period, and they got eliminated, I'm pretty sure, the week after. Because also how it works.
Jack Colston might have lasted a week. Somebody, I think, lasted a week.
I think Jack did last a week. Cooper got resurrected and then eliminated immediately, because following a resurrection, it required a double elimination the next week. So they have to be outside of the bottom 2. So it's really hard to survive after resurrecting. It created a lot of confusion. It was a lot of work for me to keep it up to date and figure out. It was hard. It was not worth the effort. So we're getting rid of it.
And it didn't change anything. Nobody's gonna win.
No, but that was an idea that I was hoping to increase the activity in the league for longer.
Correct.
That was the thought behind it, but I don't think it was worth the effort. I think there's better ways.
I would agree.
But that was the idea behind it. I had good intentions behind it. I just don't think it's worth it. We can revisit something like it in the future if we want. But also,
I don't think anybody's going to be terribly upset.
No, I don't think so either. Even those that got resurrected. Also, as we already mentioned, we've expanded the league from 18 to 20. We've added Max and Walker. Welcome them to the league. And as a result, we will now have 2 double elimination weeks. And which weeks those are will be up to a vote. That's going to be on one of the next slides. We have, by the way, 6 different amendments that are going to be voted on. Which weeks, the weeks of the double eliminations being one of them. But ultimately, I think the more the merrier. I think there is probably a limit. I don't know if we'd go above 20. Ryan and I talked about it. Like, could we go to 22 and have 4 double limit? I mean, I don't know. You reach a point where teams get thinner, and I don't know if it's worth going above 20. But I think 20 is a good place to be with the added fun of
there's
a couple double elimination weeks.
I think you can go too far above 20, and now people are starting backup running backs and wide receiver 3. And I think to an extent that's fun, but it's also just like, I don't know. Nobody needs to be scoring 40 points in week. Like, that's just not fantasy football, I think, One could argue that, you're rewarded for knowing depth, but I think a lot of it is just probably luck at that point. But
it is. Injuries are especially more devastating. It's not worth going, I think, higher than 20. But I'm excited to have 20 this year. So
yeah, I think it's a good number.
And the last change, a small change, is last year Ryan was manually changing the waiver priority each week to match the year-to-date, your total points for on the year, as opposed to last week's standings of points for. And I think going off of last week's standings for points for is a more fair way to go about it, because if, let's say, one team is really strong all year and all of a sudden they're just like devastated by injuries, it's like now that team gets the, what's the word? Just like they're punished for having better points for on the year, but now they're in a bad spot and they need to add people to their team. Ultimately, it doesn't matter that much. Waiver priority only affects when there's a tie on bidding. So like,
I mean, it's not that happens fairly regularly.
It does. It does happen fairly regularly.
And I think the other, not to totally derail this conversation, but
boy.
Correct me if I'm off, but I just wanted to make
that's an interesting strategy
that the waiver order that Sleeper does is not dictated on the arbitrary wins and losses. That's, I think, really what I don't remember what their default is. I just wanted to make sure it's not record, because obviously, as you know, when we remove people from the league, they will still be like ghost rosters, and so whoever they're playing gets an automatic win. And
no, record doesn't matter. Record matters nothing.
Okay, record.
There is a record.
Okay.
You have a record, but it means nothing.
Okay, I just want to make sure that wasn't impacting the waiver order.
No, it's strictly on points for, and now it'll be based on prior week standings. So you can kind of, if you want to tank 1 week to like make sure you have a better waiver priority the next week, you can do that.
Okay, and is it also based on whoever like bid, like if you didn't bid, you would be waiver priority 1, correct?
No, next week I think it would get reset to the order of points for last week.
Okay, all right.
So that's
Glad we're
that's how it'll go.
having this
Essentially, I'm just not taking the manual,
Whatever
changing out. Ryan, you had to go in each
sleeper,
week.
Yeah, whatever sleeper determines is what we're gonna do.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. So that this way we don't have to do something every week to adjust the waiver order.
Yep.
Okay. Into the first of 6 amendments. We'll try to breeze through these, but I want to make sure they're clearly stated what they are, so you know what you're voting on. So we'll start off with what we already mentioned. When should these 2 double elimination weeks occur? We want to, first and foremost, make sure that these double elimination weeks don't fall on any weeks where NFL teams are on bye, because that would just create unfairness for teams that have people on bye those weeks. So week 13 is like that random week in the middle of the season. It's not in the middle, it's more like in the late in the season where there are no byes, but every week from weeks 5 to 14 otherwise are all byes. So we have weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 13, 15, 16, 17. We're not going to do double eliminations that late in the season. Week 13, if we did a week 13 double elimination, that would cut it down from 7 to 5. Just to put that into perspective, if you were to vote on one of the options that includes week 13 as a cut, I think I'm partial to a week 13 cut on top of either week 1 or 4. We're looking at option C and D here then. D, with having a week 1 elimination or double elimination would be pretty hilarious, I think. 2 teams just right off the rip just getting cut. Everyone would be terrified going into week 1. It might create more chaos. Option A.
And we want more people to have fun for longer, right, Eric?
More people to have fun for longer. Yeah, exactly. That's why the week 13 cut. Weeks 1 and 2 would be a very cutthroat option, very chaotic, but also could be hilarious. But ultimately, these are our options. And Ryan, I don't know if you have any color you want to add to this.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know if we were leaving this up to a vote, but I think that's totally fine. I think I'm biased to the week 4 and 13. I think 1 and 2 are random enough as it is. Like I look at Cooper's team last year, who was first eliminated, and he had a pretty fine team. Yeah, like wasn't really, I don't think, in danger, and nobody scored a touchdown for him, and that kind of did him in. So I think if we want to add to the chaos, to your point, yeah, we'll do 1 and 2, and now all of a sudden the draft matters much more. I don't think I would root for that, but it would be fun, I guess.
It could be exciting. I'll live with whatever gets the popular vote.
I'll live with the vote. My vote is 4 and 13. I'm putting that out there. I think it's just no buys. There's less variability in week 13. Usually in week 13, there's kind of a team that's been lucky to be there, so hopefully that would weed them out.
I agree. That's a good point.
So
anyway, that happens almost every year, where a team that we think is like so undeserving has made it that far.
Yeah, and at that point, if that continues to be the trend, it's essentially just a 1 elimination week with the other team kind of just, happy to be there, and they'll say goodbye after week 13. But yeah. Anyway, 4 and 13 is my vote.
I'm with you there.
We'll leave up to the vote, but we'll go from there.
All right. Number 2, I am proposing to increase the buy-in of the league from $20 to $25 or $30. We would put it up to a vote. Ultimately, higher stakes, I think, could make it more fun and more competitive. I also want to push those of you in the league that don't have any obligation that does not allow you to bet or gamble or whatever this is considered. I think Johnny meets that category. I would like everyone else to do the buy-in. How we've worked it in the past is if you don't want to do the buy-in, you are just not up for the pot, and the next highest winner, second place, for example, would get the pot if first place did not wager. I'd like more people to. It was like 14 out of the 18 last year, so it's almost the entire league. But I'd like almost all the league if you're able.
And I also just think too. Saw this more in year 1 than year 2, but just people maybe playing differently if they didn't buy in.
Right. Absolutely.
Because they have no ramifications, which again is their prerogative, and it is what it is. But in the spirit of, just equal playing field, like everything, all else even, trying to, keep the winner being, no asterisks, and everything's fair. And don't want to steal your thunder, but I think if we did do this, we've kicked around a weekly highest. Sorry, I think I'm about to steal your
That's the
thunder
next
again.
one.
But
You got the next
yeah,
one
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here, that's good segue.
Great segue. More
yeah.
money, a higher pot, total pot opens the door for other avenues of payouts as opposed to just like it all goes to the winner. A majority will still go to the winner, of course, in any scenario. But my other amendment proposal is that we have a small weekly payout for the high scorer. I think this does two things. One, it gives people a way to make some of their money back if they don't win. You know, you can still make some of your original wager back. And also, I think it promotes everyone to try every week. I think we saw last year a lot of people tanking, or just like they'd rather just get better waiver priority. So like within reason, they would bench players if as long as they're safe, and so on and so forth.
Here's another byproduct, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say somebody is desperate on Monday night and they offer $80 for a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson. However, that player is in the running for the highest score, which is why those trades are on the table.
Hey, great
now all
point.
of a sudden, do they want to do that trade anymore, knowing that it's at the expense of $5? I don't know. You know, just adds. But I do think another byproduct is the benching of players for better waiver priority probably goes away or gets much less.
It wouldn't go away because if a team is already like around the middle
Sure.
of the pack and they can get a better waiver by benching players, they're going to do it, no doubt.
Yeah, so it doesn't go away, but maybe diminished. But anyway, I hadn't considered that that potential hypothetical of does that now curtail these desperation trades?
It might
if somebody has the right spot. Yeah,
it actually might. So then here are the different scenarios if we were to increase the buy-in from 20 to 25 or 30. The final pot would still be 82% of what the original pot was. So for the $20 buy-in as it is, $360 goes to the winner. That assumes all 18 pay, which has not been the case, but you get the idea. If we would do a $4 weekly payout, leaving about $296 for the winner. You know, so on and so forth. $5 weekly payout if we have a $25 buy-in, $6 weekly payout if we have a $30 buy-in. Different scenarios, so we'll vote on if we're going to keep it at 20, if we want to raise it to 25 or 30, and then yes or no on if we would do the weekly high score payout, and it would be which one of these we do is dependent on what gets voted on here for the buy-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Eric, maybe I'm thinking if we do three options for 20, 25, 30, if 25 and 30 are like split, you know, and maybe 20 wins, that might skew the data if most of the league is like in favor of raising. But
that is correct. I would say if the combination of 25 and 30, the votes are higher than the votes for 20, I would do a revote on 25 and 30.
Or just go to 25 because presumably most of the people who...
That's fair. You're correct.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, then 25 is going to win. So that one will have a little tweaking done to it. But
nuance.
You heard it. You heard it here that's what's going to happen.
Watch the videos.
I know, right? All right, number 4.
Watch the videos.
I proposed this last year. It was shot down. Ryan doesn't like this, although Ryan likes to tax the rich as opposed to help. Let me finish. No. Ryan likes to tax the rich as opposed to help the poor. This is a weekly $2 stimulus for the second lowest scoring team each week, aka the trash can, aka the lowest surviving score each week. Here's what I think this does. Okay, hold on. Well, here's how I think this helps the league and why I think it's good. It promotes more spending. This is the only way in the league that FAB can be reintroduced into the economy. Otherwise, FAB does not come from anywhere. If everyone starts with 100, that's the pool for the entire economy for the entire season. I think this also helps combat any individual team who is like just destroying everyone else in FAB to just run away with it, because later in the season, $2 becomes a pretty big deal. I think we would put the cutoff at, I think I forgot to mention it here, I'd put the cutoff
I'm more okay with it if it cuts off at a certain point.
I think at like week 13, 14, like right before the Final Four, is when I would cut it off.
$2 in the Final Four could
matters a lot.
Could be the highest number, hypothetically.
Yes, but it also could help a team who is struggling versus a team that has a bunch of fab.
Right,
So,
and then now you're rewarding somebody in the Final Four for finishing last, and now they own the fab. That's what I'm trying
fair.
to
So yeah, it'd probably be before the final 6 then, is what we would propose. I'll write it out in the poll for the voting on this, what I decide. I'm pretty sure. We'll do it before the final 6. How about that? Or if we have a double elimination to cut it from 7 to 5, I would do it right before that. And I just think it offers a way for weaker teams to remain competitive. And here's an example of what that would look like. In this case where there's 12 teams in the week, the 12th place gets eliminated, 11th place gets 2 fab. Pretty simple enough. We'll put it up to vote. Who knows? It did not pass last year, but we're going to see if anyone changed their mind. This is where I'm really hoping people change their mind. This was another thing we proposed last year, and I'm a fan of it. Tight end premium. So tight ends would score full PPR, while every other position would remain at half PPR as normal. Currently, everything is just half PPR in this league. Ultimately, I think tight ends are boring, and this makes them more fun. And this creates more strategy because now more tight ends might be serviceable floor plays in the flex. And from my experience in another league, Guillotine League, that does tight end premium, tight ends are very useful. Not very useful, but like they're serviceable in many ways. If you can find those guys that have a good floor of like 4 catches a game, that's already 4 points. So it creates more strategy. It makes tight ends, it involves tight ends more in the league. I don't know, all around, I don't see a problem with it. I think it just adds more fun. But Ryan, give me
This is your baby. I think I don't hate, like, I wouldn't be mad if this passed. I just I don't know. I think it's just a change for the sake of making a change, is my overarching thought. I see why you like it. But also I think there's still strategy in, like, where do you pick a tight end? Because, are they a floor play? Like, I think that, like, there's still strategy to picking tight ends, even if they're half PPR. It's like, maybe I just go and get Brenton Strange, and it's like, that's my strategy because his floor is probably not much lower than somebody much better,
right.
So anyway, I don't know. I don't really care about this one, to be honest.
Yeah. As much as I'm a fan of it, I mean, I'm fine if it doesn't pass. I mean,
it doesn't change much.
No,
it's not a sweeping change.
Let me add another point to it. Having 20 teams now, I think having more players that are fantasy viable to start in your lineup will be
not
helpful now that we have 2 extra teams.
Yeah. Not a bad point.
That's actually probably the best point now, and I just thought about it now.
Yeah, good point.
We need more startable players in our lineups, and this would make more tight ends startable early in the season.
Fair point, Eric. Fair point.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, last but not least, Ryan, take the floor. You got your luxury tax. I know everyone's a hater on this, but I'll let Ryan have his chance here to sell it.
Yeah, I would just encourage everybody to just look at it with fresh eyes. I think we're just trying to increase the competitive balance of the league. I think when one person has 80% of the fab, I don't know. It's just not as fun to bid. We're all about fun in this league. And to take a shot at Johnny, maybe if you spent some of your fab instead of hoarding it and then starting Quentin Johnson in a 6-person league, this rule might have benefited you. So anyway, these are very high numbers intentionally to make it so that this only comes into play if it's very egregious, where somebody's hoarding fab. Again, just trying to improve the competitive balance. And this would come into play at the following weeks for 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And if you are over those numbers after games have concluded on Monday, you would lose 10% of whatever you have. So hypothetically, if you are above that, you could still be above that number, even after the luxury tax, if you had an insane amount of fab. And an exception would be made if you made a trade midweek. You would have an extension. Obviously, we don't want to handcuff people into not being able to make trades midweek if they want to, and then it would put them over the luxury tax. So that's my case. I know Johnny also mentioned that the luxury tax is for teams who spend, not save. Johnny, what do you do with the money that you have? Presumably, you spend it. So I think that is one and the same. Uh, it's not going to pass. It is what it is. I think these are more of a safety net than anything else. Like these are, again, very high numbers, but I think it would just make it more fun. It's been, it's frustrating when players hoard fab. I get that's their prerogative, but they could still do it hypothetically in this scenario, just with minimal consequences. So that's my case. I think that's it.
Yeah, and I'll give my 2 cents on it because I'm against this idea generally, but once Ryan proposed these numbers, I don't hate it as much because I just don't really see it ever affecting me. I like having fab. I attempted to do that last year, trying to kind of own the market in fab later in the season. But I don't think I was ever above these thresholds. Maybe in that like middle week 11, 12, 13 range, I might have still been above those numbers. But like early in the season, I was not above 160. It's pretty hard to get above 160. You have to trade like a stud to someone who's willing to pay like 50 to 60 for that player. I think the biggest spending we've seen. I think Phil traded like $80 for Bijan was one thing he did. Before week 1 even started, Ben did the whole, like, I think it was 45 for Saquon, but then he like traded him back for 63, or between him and Jack. I forget how that went down, but that was a high amount of fab being thrown around early in the year. But once again, this threshold is at week 4, so that allows you the first 4 weeks to kind of do whatever you want before you get taxed. So I don't hate it now. I'm still probably not voting for it, but I'm much closer than I was before I saw these proposed tax thresholds. Okay.
Thank you.
I think, is that my last slide? Oh, yeah, well, we'll go over the draft date. Essentially, yeah, sure, let's do it. I don't know how much I edited this slide, but we'll figure out when we're doing the draft. It should be as close to the beginning of the season as possible to account for any potential late off-season injuries, so either late August, early September. And then how we want to decide draft order, I think I'll have a whole separate thing on this. I don't know if we're going to vote on this now. It's a little early for that, but last year we did the Hot Wheels on the treadmill, where you all got to pick your Hot Wheel, and then I threw them all on a treadmill, and we ran it, and it was just reverse order of how the Hot Wheels fell off the treadmill. There's some other options. The Spotify, I'll just go down the list. The 100-yard rush, I saw this one. It's like a website where you go to, and I input everyone's names, and it basically is just like a retro game looking thing where like these 18 guys would run down, or 20 guys for us, would run down the field, and it's kind of randomized, so you can, it's like a horse race essentially, but with NFL players running down a field. And I would post the video of that, and we just go off of the order of how that race finishes. The Spotify playlist shuffle, you all send me a song. I put all 20 songs on the playlist. I shuffle it, and the draft order is the order of how the songs get played. And then other ideas I've thought of before is the Super Smash Bros. Tournament simulated. We all get like the equal level bots, and you pick your player, and we throw them all in a tournament, or a big 20-person free-for-all, and we just go in order of however that plays out.
I'd throw in there, I've been on a Mario Kart kick on the Wii. We could do a time trial of 18 or 20 different characters, and
like a bot?
Or I could do it. Yeah, you could do a bot, I guess. But I've been on a Mario Kart kick, so that's just what comes to mind. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, we can.
All potatoes.
And the last one I had was chipping, or it'd be 20 golf balls this time. I had this idea last time where I read everyone's, or maybe I have like my wife write everyone's initials on a golf ball, so I don't know what ball is what. I record myself doing it. I show the camera what ball I'm hitting first. I have no idea what I'm hitting. I'm just trying to hit them all close to the hole, and we go in like reverse order of closest to the pin. So I wouldn't know what's going on, but you guys watching would be able to like root for your ball or whatever. That was just some ideas I had. I'll throw these out as options we can vote on. Maybe we won't do this voting right now, but just to get the juices flowing for ideas for.
I wouldn't mind doing the thing sooner. We got some people who probably want to mock some drafts here.
Okay, sure. I'll throw it out. I'll let people throw out ideas first, and then I'll put it up.
Yeah,
if anyone has any other ideas for fun ways to randomize a draft order, and then we can put it up to a vote. I'll throw Mario Kart in there.
Sure. Love it.
Okay, we're at 30 minutes.
Good first sesh.
Yeah, maybe we probably talk too much. We always tend to ramble in these, but hopefully you guys enjoy. And we'll be putting these up as polls in the chat on Sleeper pretty much right after I post this in the chat. So
I would also say maybe we just like give it a week. Like I don't want to be hunting people. You know, I know last year we were like trying to hound people to
Oh
vote
yeah,
in the
we'll,
chat.
we'll give you
I
guys
think if you
time.
don't, yeah, and I don't want to be hounding people. I think if you don't check in a week, maybe you don't feel strongly or whatever. But
I'd probably want to
anyway,
lock these in by end of the month, which gives you 2 weeks pretty much.
yeah, I just I don't want to hunt people down. If people don't vote, we go with whatever was voted on.
Yeah, I agree. We go off of the votes that
All
are
right,
in.
squad.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking in, and I will see you guys later.
See ya.